What's up, JuJuan Buford, Managing Partner, JSB Business Solutions Group. And what I want to talk about today is what transpired recently with Andrew Tate. And I'm not going to speak directly on what transpired because, quite frankly, there's so much misinformation out there. There's so much rush to judgment one way or the other, whether you're just coming to his defense blindly or if you're attacking blindly. I really don't want to go there. What I want to talk about is what we can learn from what's transpiring with this gentleman as entrepreneurs and as individuals who have to navigate a society that's, quite frankly, just out of control, right? This unhinged, if you will. And there's two things I'm thinking about as the story continues to unravel about what transpired with him. And the first being, look, when you are an entrepreneur, one of the most important lessons you'll learn is that you want to be able to go on offense and you want to be able to go on defense. And sometimes they're one and the same, right? Sometimes when you are trying to score, you have to simply just take what the defense gives you. So the defense lines up and they put 8, 9 in a box, or even 10 in a box, you throw the ball. If they put 6 in the box or 7 in the box, you run it down their throat, right? You got to be flexible. The other thing I'm thinking about is people oftentimes misconstrue retreat with fear, anxiety, a lack of resources, an inability to be muscular. Well, that's not necessarily the truth, right? When you think about individuals who practice jiu-jitsu and some of the martial arts, oftentimes they'll use an opponent's aggression against them. They'll use an opponent's energy against them. They'll play weak or demure, or they'll operate in such a way where you think they're on the defense, but they're really just baiting you into a mistake. So they can take your momentum, they can take someone's aggression or lack of forward thinking and use it against them to strike when they're ready. And sometimes you gotta be willing to throw your adversaries off, right? Here's the thing. He's kind of loud. He's very active. He was everywhere, right? And he was poking the bear frequently. And look, I'm not a multi-millionaire or billionaire, so I'm not going to instruct or tell someone how to move who's operating on that level. But what I would say is this. There's something to be said with misdirection. There's something to be said for sometimes just playing it cool and quiet and letting individuals fall into the trap of overexertion, going too far, making accusations unnecessarily, right? Going to the extreme, right? Exaggerating so you can make them look more foolish later on. And then, of course, there are times where, you know, you have your adversary on the ropes and, quite frankly, you knock their fucking teeth out. Damn, I said that, another curse word, so that might be edited too. But you get the point, right? Those are my thoughts as it relates to what just recently happened with them. And I think those are the lessons that can be learned as entrepreneurs out here in the field. And this could be applied to real life. And quite frankly, I just learned to apply it. I'm reading a book, 33 Laws or 33 Strategies of War by Robert Greene. Actually not reading, it's the first time I actually tried an audio book. But it really put in perspective some of the errors in judgment I was making, right? Sometimes if you have a go-to strategy, you go to it, you become predictable, right? And when you become predictable, you become vulnerable. And individuals will take advantage of that, right? It's not necessary, you don't need to show that you're muscular to be muscular all the time, if you catch my drift, right? You don't need to be the bully. You don't need to be the blunt object. Sometimes it serves you to let individuals have a couple battles, so at the end of the day, you can win the war. And regardless of how you feel about this gentleman, what I hate to see are individuals being canceled because they're sharing a perspective, popular or not. I hate to see that, because I really do believe that such ideals and conflicts should really be solved in the marketplace of ideals, right? People should have an opportunity to have their perspectives, what they bring to the table, questioned, right? So we can really get to the bottom of whether or not it's really effective or beneficial. But when you just straight up cancel individuals, you don't have the debate. You don't have the intellectual exercise. And how often have human beings in human history simply just gone with the flow, or whatever they thought was right, or whatever they thought was popular, or whatever they thought was sexy, and we had some unforeseen bad circumstances happen as a result, right? So regardless of how you feel about the gentleman's perspective, it should be debated in the court of the marketplace of ideals. Like, we should be able to vet it out and have that discussion, as opposed to what typically happens to individuals. And I'm not going to compare him to martyrs, but, you know, so often in our society, United States society in particular, has a history of finding different ways to eliminate people and silence people when their ideals are counterintuitive or counter to whatever the ongoing concern or priorities are at the moment. And I'll leave it at that. So those are my thoughts. Hopefully this quick small plate in terms of how entrepreneurs can move. Hopefully this lesson lands the right way. And as we take inventory of what's transpiring with this gentleman, one way or the other, you know, my opinion, just give you just a small tidbit and that's it. My opinion is if he did it, what he's accused of, then okay. He should be prosecuted to the further extent of the law. But if he didn't, this is another example of when groupthink goes wrong, right? We live in the United States of America. It's supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. And I'll leave it at that. But as entrepreneurs, the lesson to be learned is it's okay to move in quiet. It's okay to move in silence. And there's a time to quote unquote get muscular. There's a time to pull out the sword and the knives, but there's also a time to sit back and let people think they're winning and exerting energy, and then come back and knock their heads off, knock their teeth out. I'll leave it at that.